Welcome to Data, Dollars, and Dynasty, the podcast where data meets destiny. 3 voices, 1 mission, using data to build a dynasty. Next.
So I'm just saying to you guys here today, everybody has a different definition of what success looks like. All right, so I think you should have an idea of success that's short-term, meaning day-to-day. You should have an idea of success that's mid-term, that might look like getting to college. You should have an idea of success that looks like long-term. That should be some tremendous future ambition. And embedded in all of these aspirations of success is risk. It's sacrifice.
Plus,
I would say that as young people, it's also our duty to educate our parents too. A lot of parents, they're stuck into the mentality of, this is what I did, this is what worked for me, so you should do the same thing. So I think as a child, it's your responsibility to pass that on to your parents as well, so that way they can also guide you and give you a little more input based off of what you're seeing, and just combine those thoughts together, because they have the experience, they have the life experience, but life changes, circumstances change.
also,
It's never too late to change your career. I always look at trades. Even if you have debt, you just gotta lick your wounds and just keep going. That's all we can do with life. You can always go back and change your career, and I would highly recommend you guys do that, even if you are in a place that you're comfortable with right now.
now welcoming your hosts, Jeremy Sr., JJ, and Jayden.
Welcome to the 11th episode of Data, Dollar, Dynasty. I'm your host, Jeremy Williams Sr., and I have on the podcast with me today my sons and co-hosts, Jayden Williams
Yeah, welcome back everyone, and welcome to our new viewers.
and JJ Williams.
Yep, welcome back everybody. Excited to have you guys on today's podcast with us.
And on this podcast, we're going to revisit podcast we did. I think it was podcast number 9, where we invited some of our students from our Datagen Scholar program to join us. We have 5 new students that have raised their hand to visit us today to discuss some interesting articles that they found that they wanted to share with the world and give some perspective on how they look at these articles and what they think about AI and this journey that we're about to take as a society in terms of adapting AI and making it work magic for us. All right, so I'm gonna let JJ introduce the students, and after the students have introduced themselves, we're gonna jump into the articles. Today's podcast is probably gonna be a little lengthy. We have 5 articles that we want to present to our audience here today, and we wanna talk about these students. We want these students to introduce themselves to the world, and then we're gonna wrap up the podcast. So that said, JJ, why don't you introduce the students?
Yeah, of course. So Sanjit, we'll start off with you. Just go ahead and tell everybody your grade as well as what school you go to, and that should be enough for now. So Sanjit, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, guys, my name is Sanjit. I'm a sophomore, and I go to John Chan High School, Loudoun County.
Next, we'll go ahead and hop over to Nissi. I know she's based out of Florida, so Nissi, definitely tell the viewers about you as well.
Hi, my name is Nissi, and I go to Tehopecalega High School in Florida.
Next, we'll go ahead and jump over to Arjun. So Arjun, go ahead and tell the viewers about yourself as well.
Hi, my name is Arjun. I go to Briarwoods High School and I'm a sophomore.
Uzair, we'll jump down to you. Go ahead and share your details.
Hi guys, my name is Uzair Nasser, and I'm a current junior at Thomas Jefferson High School for Science and Technology in Fairfax County.
And last but not least, we have Pranav. So Pranav, go ahead and say a few things about yourself.
Hi, I'm Pranav. I go to Independence High School.
And what grade are you in, Pranav? Go ahead and let them know that also.
I go to 10th grade.
Perfect. All right. Well, those are all the students, so we can go ahead and take it from here.
Excellent. So as you see, we have a variety of students spanning Florida, and everybody else is in Virginia, right?
That's right.
Okay. All right. So we have 4 kids from Virginia with us, and we have 1 student from Florida, my home state. So that said, let's go ahead and jump into these articles. I wanted to cue things off about this article that the CEO of Walmart shared around AI. Go ahead and talk about that article, Sanjit.
Yes, sir. So the article's name is Walmart CEO issued a wake-up call, quote, AI is going to change literally every job. So this article talked about how the CEO was talking about how AI is going to change every job, meaning workers are going to be replaced, everyone is going to be replaced, people are going to be replaced. It's talking about automations and new roles. Warehouse is going to be automated, cutting some jobs. But these jobs aren't like the ones who talk to the people. It's more like back in the warehouse, like robots type of stuff. And someone's also pitched a humanoid robot worker to Walmart CEO. So this will help in the back of the warehouse. This article also talks about how more soft skills are going to be brought to the surface because AI can't really keep relationships. That's something that only a human can do. So soft skills like communication and teamwork are going to become way more valuable than ever. And it's also talking about how even though AI is going to take some jobs, it's also going to make new jobs. Like people have to make the AIs, chatbots, all that type of stuff for Walmart. Yep. So that's also going to make some jobs. It's also going to get rid of some jobs, but it's also going to give some jobs.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Does anybody else want to chime in on that?
It also emphasizes upscaling. Walmart is actively leaning into the change, investing in training and free AI certifications through programs like OpenAI to equip its massive workforce with necessary skills to adapt to the new tools.
That's right. So, Jay, you guys want to say anything here?
Yeah, definitely. I think this just talks more to what we've been talking about in the previous podcast episodes, everyone. The world is changing, and it's starting with every job from retail stores to corporate buildings and stuff like that. Everybody's going to be impacted by these AI technologies. And I thought it was pretty interesting how they pointed out specifically how they're looking for positions that really relate to AI. So I know they mentioned the agent builder position that Walmart wants to add to some of its stores to help employees with using these AI tools, but they're also going to help with building them as well. So I thought it was pretty neat. It's just reminding us that we're taking one step closer to being towards that AI work environment or workplace, if you want to call it that.
Yep. What about you, Jayden?
Yeah, I think the article spoke a lot about soft skills and the importance of that in tomorrow's workforce. So I like that they're shifting their policies to rely on more training in terms of getting their workers upskilled in that avenue. That's obviously going to prepare them for more opportunities in the future, not just within Walmart, but in other organizations. So I think a lot of companies will have to adapt a similar framework with their employees because, again, AI is coming to take over. We talk about it in every episode. But it's just more important for people to start developing these interpersonal skills rather than focusing on going to school or whatever and just getting the technical knowledge itself.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So think about it like this, man. You think about these programs, the Datagen Scholars, for instance. What that article talked about, for me, two things came out of it for me. So one was OpenAI's partnership with companies like Walmart. They're trying to do this AI certificate training program. So they're partnering up to offer these programs to corporations so that people can get trained in AI. Datagen Scholars, we're doing that. Now, I don't know what that program's going to look like, right? I mean, I'm not sure if it's going to be something like what we're doing, but that's highlighted there. Now, there is a part in the article where it talked about Accenture. Now, Accenture is a reputable accounting company, not accounting, but a consulting company, right? So I don't know how big Accenture is, but it's just probably pretty sizable, meaning that it probably has, I think, more than 50,000 employees. Accenture came out and is referenced in this article and said that they were exiting employees from their teams who couldn't be AI trained. I don't know what that means, by the way. I don't know what they mean when they say who can't be trained in AI. Maybe the roles aren't necessarily roles that can leverage AI, but what they said was their emphasis is going to be on employees who are generative AI fluent. It says it will continue to hire employees or people who are generative AI fluent. What that means to me, it means knowing how to use these tools. And that's a part of what we're teaching in Datagen Scholars. So this article says to me that we're doing something that's future focused with our program. And it says to me, for you students, you guys are ahead of the curve. When you raise your hand to be a part of this program, you unknowingly reposition yourselves for these jobs of tomorrow, whatever they might be. The CEO of Walmart also said, maybe it was the human resources lead for Walmart, they said that they don't know what the jobs are going to look like, all of them. What they're going to do is, because they see potential here, is they're going to essentially freeze their hiring. They're going to potentially freeze hiring until they can get more clarity around what these jobs are going to look like at Walmart. And when you have potentially the second biggest or third biggest company on the planet saying that they're doing this, there's going to be a lot of other follows. So back on our previous podcast, we talked extensively about how this job market's been frozen and how hard it's going to be for jobs for you guys and the generation behind you. It's going to be very hard for you guys to just fit into jobs as they were traditionally known terms of my generations and prior generations. The jobs are going to look a lot different. And that's where I just think it's important for youth to really start looking at what those jobs may look like and start the plan. All right. So I see Sanjit, you want to chime in on that again?
Yeah, after what you said and also what Jayden said, a perspective from a student, I would like to start working on my communication skills and soft skills not more than, but like I would like to work on it more because AI will be taking jobs, but it can't take soft skills.
We talked about this. I call it people caring. All right. So any job that puts you in a position where you're caring, or think Parth in podcast 9, he calls them people connection jobs. So a lot of these jobs that we think are going to be retained by these companies are going to be jobs that require you to connect with people, require that you care about people, require that you communicate with people, right? So these jobs where you're sitting in a corner, isolated, them jobs are going to be done by AI. I have an engineering background and I turned to business, but I actually hated engineering because I didn't want to be in a cubicle. The job I took enabled me to be out with people. So the job I took when I came out undergrad was with the electric utility company. And the reason I took that job is because I didn't want to be put in a cubicle just doing design work all day on AutoCAD in a corner, right? And isolated from everybody. The job I wanted said, okay, you're going to do some corner work, but you're going to also do some connection work. And that's what I wanted when I came out of school. And what we're seeing, just the nature of social media and how things have progressed in our society with COVID, especially for you guys being isolated from your classmates a couple of years, and then social media being so prevalent, you see a lot of students or a lot of future workers, they lack the social element, that soft element. They lack communication skills. Matter of fact, in DC, there was a group that we met. It wasn't Skill Build. I always mixed his name up, son. There's another group that DC hired to come in there and develop those certificate programs. I can't think of the name of this group, but one of the things they talked about was just how many employers they were working with in DC, this is Washington, DC, that said that their recruits that they were interviewing for jobs lacked interpersonal skills. They lacked the ability to make eye contact. They lacked the ability to share ideas. So what you see these companies are saying is they're going to start investing in that heavily because they know that a lot of Gen Z, especially you guys, the younger Gen Zers, you guys don't have the ability to communicate effectively. They know it. And so when you say that, Sanjit, you're saying that you're putting yourself ahead of the curve. You're acknowledging the fact that you need to work on that. And that's where I think, again, you guys being a part of this program and being able to look at these articles and read articles and absorb this different content, it's going to put you in a position where you become comfortable communicating, sharing ideas, right? You be comfortable establishing that eye contact even, right? So that's what we want for you.
Yeah, adding on top of that, I feel like practicing my soft skills, I can also use this. I already teach kids how to play basketball. I make some capital off of that. I feel like this will be a great opportunity to teach the younger generation soft skills, communication, eye contact. These are all some great things, and it's making the future generations better, and it's also making me some cap.
Absolutely. And we're going to come back to that hustle piece when we do this hustle article too, by the way. So I want you to bring that back up again for me.
Yes,
Pranav, you want to chime in?
Yeah, so I completely agree with your saying, but I'm thinking a different aspect. It's not just communication skills, because there's people that need to maintain AI in like a local level. So for example, at a data center, people need to be able to maintain and keep control so it doesn't get hot or anything.
Yeah.
So I feel in a lower level of aspect, it's not just communication, but also maintenance jobs.
Yep.
The income should increase from that side because more and more people will be needed because people are losing jobs to AI because AI is taking jobs.
Yes, sir.
People need to be able to maintain AI.
Absolutely, man. I mean, so I'm going to circle back to that comment too when we do this trade piece, because I think that to me, start talking about those maintenance jobs. Those are to me what I call blue collar jobs, trade jobs. So I think we have two articles that we're going to talk about around trades, basically refer to what you're saying too as well. So thanks for that commentary. Nissi, you want to chime in?
Yeah, to kind of piggyback off what all of you guys said, also in the article, it talks about the most coveted workers will be those that have the flexibility to combine soft skills with technical skills. So like we've been saying, soft skills are becoming ever important in today's society where AI can take a lot of that technical aspect. But being able to combine like the soft skills with the technical skills will eventually make you ahead of the game and ahead of the competition. And I believe that's what this article is really saying.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So again, you guys as young people, take note of this. You guys read this article. What I want you to do is share it with your colleagues, with your friends. I mean, this is the CEO. Where's Walmart in terms of rank? Somebody Google that for me. They have to be like a top five company. So this is the CEO of a top 5 Fortune 500 company telling you what he's doing. And you get
they're number one.
Yeah, number one. So
Yep.
when you get into these Fortune 500 environments, these people all talk. So if Walmart's doing it, Amazon's going to do it. If Amazon's doing it, Target's going to do it. That's how this stuff works. That's how this stuff works. So let your friends know that you probably want to start working on those soft skills. I've always said these days of just going to a cubicle, I call these white collar jobs, we just a thinking job. Some days, man, them jobs going to be gone, man. If you were just in a thinking job, now I call them the pretty jobs, the sexy jobs. You don't even have the sweat jobs, right? You don't have to get your hands dirty jobs, right? Some jobs are probably going to be gone, man. I mean, you're still going to have some engineers here and there, right? Like we talk about these data centers, Pranav, right? You talk about data centers and all that, right? So we got engineers building data centers, great. But once that data center come online, okay, what are you going to do now, engineer? So it's like AI can do so much stuff. It's going to have the potential to do so much stuff. They're talking about getting a super intelligence in the next 4 to 5 years. Okay? Super intelligence means the AI is smarter than us. That means it can create its own AIs. All right? So if we're out the way, what are we doing? All right? So I just think having social abilities, communication abilities, the ability to look a man or a woman in her eyes. I know some cultures, that's not the thing to do. Got it. But in America, if you can't look somebody in their eyes, you're suspect. If your eyes constantly going to the left or right, they hide something. So you have to have the ability to look a person in their eyes, to speak competently, intelligently. You have to be able to have ideas, share ideas. I just think that's where all those soft skills are going to come in play. And then the fact that you have the biggest company, this is America, by the way, right? Or is this the world?
Yeah, let's see the world.
That's the world.
Walmart number one in the world.
Walmart's number one in the world. The CEO of the biggest company in the world telling you that we're going to focus on soft skills. Let's go to the Ford article next. So let's talk about what Ford CEO wants the world to know.
Okay, so I'm going to cover that article. So the title is Ford CEO on his epiphany after talking to his Gen Z factory workers. They were saying that they had to have 3 jobs.
Wow, 3 jobs.
So the article talks about the Ford CEO Jim Farley had regarding his Gen Z and younger blue-collar workers who came to light during the 2023 UAW strike. So Ford CEO Jim Farley revealed that his conversations with the factory workers during the 2023 United Auto Workers strike led to a major realization about the crisis facing the blue-collar workforce. His entry-level employees, many from Gen Z, told him that they were forced to work multiple jobs, sometimes 3, including shifts to place Walmart or Amazon, just to support themselves, feeling that working at Ford was no longer a career. This revelation spurred Ford to make a significant change in its labor strategy. So basically, it's saying that they couldn't do it as a career. They had to do it to sustain themselves and like to live as like.
Okay, I mean, it's a quick question. What kind of workers are these Gen Zers? Are they the factory workers that are building the cars? Who are they? Did it say that? These are floor level workers. Okay. And they're having to work 3 jobs.
He said they led significant wage and benefits. They want to pay them like more for the entry level workers now that he realized that they had to do multiple jobs.
Yep.
And he's
all right. So that's the trigger. What did you just say? You said entry level workers. That's who these people are. So they're not the highly skilled workers. They're entry level. And this is the point. So we've been saying, I don't know, at least 7 podcasts now. Gen Zers are having a hard time finding entry-level work. Entry-level work is, I'm not saying it's all rote, But what we're seeing is in a lot of instances, AI can do a lot of entry-level stuff. Again, a lot of Gen Zers are having a hard time finding work. And then the ones who do find work, it looks like they're having to now work 2-3 jobs. They have to basically work 2 or 3 entry-level jobs just to make enough salary to where it's equivalent to one, I would say, skilled job. That's what it sounds like is happening here. Now, a huge part of this article, it talked a lot about this crisis that Mr. Farley sees coming around blue-collar workforce, right? And do you want to shed some light on that, or did you want to let the team chime in on that?
I guess the team can chime in on that.
Okay. Does anybody want to talk about that before I start talking? Jayden?
What was the question that you just posed him? Can you restate that?
Yeah, so the article talks a lot about the crisis that the blue-collar workforce. So he talks a lot about that towards the end of the article. I think that gap in terms of people being skilled enough to do certain jobs. And he talked about how many jobs he foresaw being open, blue-collar jobs that are open right now that require a certain skill base.
Got you. I know he mentioned that there has been a decline in investment when it comes to skilled trades as far as the total U.S. economy, I believe he's talking about. I know he also issued a challenge for larger employees as well, or larger employers and community leaders to basically advocate for more apprenticeships programs as well as vocational education programs. Just act as an alternative, right, to these low-wage, entry-level jobs. Because, again, these are no longer careers, as we see from reading this article. Jobs that were, for past generations, considered to be true career-based jobs where they can come in and stay in those jobs for 30, 40 years. That's no longer the case. Or if it is, you have to sacrifice a lot, right, if you're coming into an entry-level job for these bigger corporations. So I definitely think, there should be more of a push to get the importance of trades and trade-related jobs out there to the public so that people understand that, hey, even though these past jobs may not be careers anymore, these trade jobs are. So that's my thoughts regarding it.
So this is still blue-collar work. I want to just follow up, JJ. So you said there should be more emphasis on getting blue-collar people into trades rather than blue-collar work. These people that they're speaking of, are these not blue-collar workers? Or like,
They are, but they're doing, the thing is, they're doing the entry-level stuff. So I'm thinking, This is my thinking now, without knowing who that Gen Z person is, they're probably just like people picking up scraps on the floor or something.
Okay. So I'm thinking this is like assembly line kind of work. That's right.
Yeah, simple stuff, man. Because what he talks about in there, and I'm going to let you go in a second, Arjun, but he talks about, back to this investment piece. So I'm not sure which part that we talked about, but we talked a lot about how kids, for the most part, and I think every student on this call probably wants to go to college. The last podcast, every student on that last podcast wanted to go to college. And so this goes back to just this perception of American dreams and just what that dream looks like for a lot of people. You go through generations from the 60s to the 70s to the 80s to the 90s, you'll probably see that the level of college interest has increased, meaning that more kids are graduating with aspirations to go to college. I don't know the specifics here, but I'm guessing if I were to graph this, I would see that the percentage of students is greater that have college desires today than it was back in the 60s. And that's where the problem arises. So what he's saying is that right now, there are over 400,000 jobs available, blue-collar jobs available across America that require advanced skill sets. And you can only obtain these skill sets if you go to a trade school and receive training. And he makes a specific case in here about a Ford F-150 diesel engine. He says you can't work on that unless you have the skill set and 5 years of training. That's what he's saying. These are $100,000 jobs, potentially. These are well-paid jobs. But you have to have that experience, and students aren't going that direction. Gen Zers aren't going to trade schools. Arjun, you want to say a couple words?
Right. So aside from the article, like generally what's happening right now is a lot of college students are just graduating and it's very hard for them to get a job. So if they went to trade school, they could be having good level jobs if they have the skill set. So it said, he also talked about the lack of progress at a federal level, despite the president's efforts to de-emphasize four-year degrees in favor of trade school. So the president wants a little more population to go to trade school. So he agreed that going to trade school does matter. And maybe it's like equal to going to college.
Here's the thing, though. So it's just not loud enough. So you can go around different locations. I know D.C. is not even advocating for kids to go to college. Now, it's just not a pathway for most kids in D.C., right? GPAs, maybe college entrance scores aren't adequate. All right. So DC is saying credentials. DC is saying trade school. We were part of a program up in Maryland. Maryland has a gap year program where kids can leave high school for a year and go work, get a trade, and then come in and graduate. So the mayors, some governors, they leave this effort. He's saying the federal level is just not loud enough yet. Now, President Trump has only been in office a couple years, and you can always look at what his policies are. He's making policies with education such that he's trying to basically assume more control over how colleges enroll. When he cuts out DEI and all that, everybody, that's going to make it harder for people to get into college, right? Yes or no?
Yeah, it will.
All right, so if it's harder for people to get into college, what options does that leave?
Trades. Or certification.
Trades. So he's basically trying to force America's hand. He's trying to force America's hand essentially by saying if it's harder for certain people, by the way, to get into college, then they're going to always consider trades. All right. He invited 9 colleges to the White House. Maybe not to the White House specifically, but he invited them to participate in this new process, a new program he's trying to do where he's going to fund colleges that abide by certain rules. All right. He had, I think, a couple rules on there. Made sense to me. One rule was they had to freeze tuition. Kids are going to school, coming out with mountain loads of debt. You can't get jobs. So he says, we got to freeze tuition. You want to get federal money, become a part of my initiative. You get unlimited amounts of federal dollars, by the way. But you can't raise tuition on kids for 5 years. That makes sense. He also said that if a student, this is for schools, these 9 schools had endowments. So every school isn't this rich, by the way, of $2 million per kid. If you have at least $2 million a kid in your endowment, I mean, you can give every student in your school $2 million. I think UVA was on there. Who else was on there? Texas was on there. There's a couple of bigger.
Vanderbilt, I think, was on there as well.
So a few of them were on there. But their endowments are pretty sizable. He says, your endowments are over $2 million per kid. We want you to give any student who chooses a hard science major. And I think most of you guys on this call are probably going to choose hard science majors. He said, we want you to give every student a free ride that chooses a hard science major. So in essence, what he's trying to do is essentially force out these kids who want to go to school and get PE degrees. You want to get a PE degree? Go to a trade school. You want to get a music degree? Go to a trade school. That's kind of how I interpret that.
Yeah. Okay. So I completely agree with your saying, but there's more to it, I think, because I feel like college is also getting harder because more and more people are getting smarter because the education's gotten better. And I feel like when you're moving out of college, it's also harder to find a job because everyone's gotten so much smarter. So yeah, trade school seems like a great way to get a job that you're interested in.
Hold up, build on that now. What do you mean you say everybody's gotten smarter? What do you mean now?
I mean, the education system's improved. Like back then, people would go, engineering is the future, coding and stuff. Nowadays, if you think about it, we think AI is the future.
Mm-hmm.
So,
He means
like,
evolved.
yeah.
Okay. I just think college is not in the business of building people up to get employed too either. There's a reason why a lot of people are coming out and not being employed is because one, the skills that they're getting in school aren't applicable to what the workforce needs in that moment. And two, like, you have to come out of school and they still have to train you. You don't just come out of college and go into a job and they just put you at a desk and get you working that day. It comes with another suite of training and upskilling this employee to fit your needs. So school is just a middle ground. It's just something that they can say, okay, this person has applied themselves to learn for 4 years and they're committed to something. But it's not to mean you're smarter per se than the next person.
Yeah, I just think a lot of what we're seeing too is just the college experience for most people is obsolete. AI can do most of everything that many people are going to school for. It's just what it is. Like, for you guys as young people, you got to be a little bit more calculated about how you're choosing your major. Like, I just think as a country, even as a globe, there was no method to the madness. Like a kid would just say, I want to be this, I want to be that, without necessarily knowing what the demand was, what they wanted to be. Me, I chose engineering because I wanted to get paid and I knew there was a demand for engineers. That's why I chose my engineering major. I didn't just choose it because I thought I wanted to be an engineer. It's like that feeling stuff. Sometimes people say, I feel like, that's not based in fact. So I just think every decision that I've made has been calculated. And I'll talk about this before we conclude this podcast. It has to be based in fact, based in data. So you got a student going to college right now, getting a music degree. Why? Why would you go to college to get a music degree? I mean, what's the demand for a music person? Have you studied that? These are my questions. So I just think you guys as young, aspiring minds, you guys are the future leaders of the world. You have to know what the world needs. I talked about in our last podcast, the reason why a lot of business people failed is they want to sell a customer flowers, but the customer wants chairs. It's almost like you, Sanjit. You got this nice basketball business you got going on for these 3rd and 4th graders.
Yes, sir.
But suppose these 3rd and 4th graders want to play football. Will they give you that money to play basketball? Heck no. You have to then evolve and do what? Teach football.
Exactly.
And then say, hey guys, maybe around month 2, hey, you want to learn how to shoot basketball? That's how you're effective as a business. So you have to evolve as a student to understand that I want to be a music teacher, okay? That's what you want. You want to be a flower or a music teacher. But the world needs a chair, which might be engineer. So you got to be the engineer and then maybe 2 decades later become that music teacher. This is what I'm saying here. So I just think there has to be more science and more fact based on decisions that you guys are going to have to make. And what we're seeing, this is what the CEOs are saying. I'm not saying this. They're saying we don't want entry-level workers to just come in and do simple tasks. We want you to be highly skilled at a trade. That's what they're telling us. The writing's on the wall. And what that means for the college experience is the college experience is going to have to be more defined. You can't have all these schools offering all these majors and then putting kids in debt and then graduating them to an uncertain future. That's going to have to change. You're going to have a litany of courses that you're offering or degrees you're offering that are applicable to what the world needs. That makes sense. So that looks like engineering. So you're going to have a lot of college programs now to change and cut that music stuff out. Or else you're going to graduate kids to an uncertain future. That's what's going to have to happen.
Yeah. And I think they're going to have to do it quickly, too, a lot more often as well. That's one more thing I would add as far as change. With AI being here, things are constantly changing. So you can't make a decision today, and we talk about this all the time. You can't make a decision today and then expect that same thing to have the same effect 3 weeks from now or 3 months from now, right? Because AI is constantly getting better. So if you're learning a skill, even if you're a trade right now, if you're going to a trade school right now, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be protected for the rest of your life. That's one thing I do in the state.
You have to learn daily.
Yeah.
You guys understand this, and it's for our audience. Like the days of getting a degree, getting a certificate, and just chilling for 5-10 years, them days gone. But people going to have to learn daily. You got to pick up these tools, these Gen AI tools specifically, and learn how to use different tools daily because these tools change daily. So we just see future educational framework. For me, my purview looks like more defined degree offerings specific to what the world needs, what the country needs. We're going to see major investments in trade schools. We're going to try to get more students to go to trade schools. All right, absolutely. And then there has to be just a foundational understanding at the bottom of the house, right? Your foundation has to be daily learning. That's how I look at that.
Chiming in on change, I think it was Jayden talking about how everyone can't expect the same thing you're doing to work a few days later. I feel like that goes with making mistakes too. If you make a mistake, you have to change something because if you do the same thing again, you're obviously going to make the mistake again.
Absolutely.
And I learned this when I was learning how to day trade crypto and futures. And I'm trying to get my funded account started up. And when I was learning how to do this, there was like this one part when I make money and then I would lose it and then I make like more than I lost. But it was like a little bit of profit every single time. So then I figured out what I was doing and then I changed like one part of it. I changed my strategy and it worked and I made a lot of money. So I just feel like that was a great point. Like change, you can't be scared of that.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Love it. Thanks for that commentary.
One thing I would add to this is before, when computer science was a huge thing, a lot of companies were promising that computer science is the golden ticket. And if you learn this, you'd be guaranteed a great job. Nowadays, we're seeing, because of a lot of people doing computer science, it's really hard for people to get a job nowadays. And so, like you guys said, what's good today might not be great tomorrow.
Yeah. You can go out to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The government puts out decent data. They tell you how many jobs are going to be needed in what fields. They tell you. I mean, you can go out there and see how many computer scientists are needed in the next 5 years, nurses, doctors. I think the highest projected demanded job is home health aides. We know it. So we know it as a country what jobs are needed. But nobody wants to do those jobs because they're lowly paid, right? So we have the data. So for me, if you were to employ some kind of a top-down, bottom-up approach where data was shared with elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, we need so many kids on this track. And of course, by the time you get to college, you know who those kids are to go to engineering based on aptitude. I talked about, I think, our third podcast. You know which kids have talent. I'm talking about physically speaking, athletically, academically. Now, of course, you can grow into an academically great student just by how much rigor you put your brain in and how focused you are on academics. But you know which kids got it. I tested extremely well when I was in elementary school. So I was always going to be where I am today, right? With or without guidance, potentially. Because I just tested so well. So my teachers pointed me in the right direction without even the guidance of my parents. So the system showed me the direction to go. Now, I got to a point in life I had to make some decisions. I had to make some decisions if I wanted to do what the teacher asked me to do. The reason I chose engineering, guys, 10th grade, 11th grade, I was asked to go out to the Florida A&M, Florida State Engineering School for an egg drop contest. That's why I chose engineering. I went to this school and I talked to one of the professors. I obviously participated in the contest, didn't win it. But I talked to a professor about it. I said, I'm gonna do engineering. So it's just, I'm just saying, so you know which kids got it. You guys are in high school right now. You're taking tests. You're probably in honor societies and all that. Your teachers know if you got it or not. So I'm just saying, I just think with the advent of AI is going to force our hands. This stuff, this cavalier approach to just letting kids choose, I just think, look, I'm all for choice, by the way. I'm all for choice. I just think we have to narrow the options. So rather than us having 200 careers we can choose from, maybe we only had, this is for college now, rather than us having 200 careers to choose from when I go to college, maybe it's only 50. That's what I'm saying. And then I got, on the other side of it, I have a bunch of trades I can select from. But we know those trades are needed. We know what jobs are aligned to those trades. This is what I'm saying. We have to get to that point, and that's what Ford's CEO is basically saying. He says investment. He's talking about that. We have to be more conscientious about how we're investing in jobs. Because other than that, kids are going to be working 3, 4, 5, 6 jobs.
Now, for a quick commercial break to share some key program insights.
At Datagen Scholar, we're redefining education for the next generation of thinkers. Students master data literacy and generative AI, build real projects, and earn while they learn. We're not waiting for the future of education. We're building it. Learn more at datagenscholar.com.
Now back to the podcast.
Let's jump over to this NVIDIA article.
The article's title was NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang says electricians and plumbers will be needed by the hundreds of thousands in the new working world. The article says basically that Gen Z thinks they're gonna have less chances towards jobs due to the AI boom, right? But that's all the negativity that people see, but they're not seeing the positivity. As a acceleration in AI, there's gonna be more data centers required to back the AI up. So it's also creating thousands of opportunities in these skilled trades. So more of the blue-collar jobs. Specifically, the electricians, plumbers, carpenters, and construction workers. The NVIDIA CEO, Jensen Huang, says the skilled craft segment will boom and it will keep on doubling. As we can see, NVIDIA invested $100 billion into OpenAI for developing data centers, and it's speculated that global spending on data centers could reach $7 trillion.
Nah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Listen. All right, so first of all, this is a great segue. We're about to go, quote unquote, live with our program. You guys are a part of what we think is going to be an exciting ride. All right, so a lot of things we haven't even told you guys about how we're setting you guys up for success, okay? So it's really like an experiment, Datagen Scholar. But what this guy is saying is what we've been saying, guys. Like, the jobs are coming. It's just that those jobs are going to look like trades. Our last podcast, we talked about this, man. We talked about data centers. We talked about trillions of dollars being invested. We talked about this crazy need that we have for power to basically service these data centers. We currently have about 475 gigawatts of power that we're using as a country just to operate, right? House, turn your lights on, businesses and all that, right? 475 gigawatts. And that's at 100% capacity already. That includes 5,500 data centers are already included in that, okay? They're projecting that just in the US, we're gonna need between 3,000 and 5,500 more data centers. Now, we're already at capacity on the electrical grid. What does that mean? That means that we have to build more electrical grid. We have to expand the electrical grid. And we have to also account for water. That's what he's saying. The guy is saying the jobs are there, they're coming. So rather than you going to school to be a music teacher, go to school to be a plumber, electrical worker. I mean, I said we were in that program back a couple years ago. It was a year ago up in Maryland. There was a kid came into the room. We was talking to a bunch of business folks about this gap year program right here in Maryland. He said that I made like 90K. He's in high school. All right, come on, man. The opportunities are there. It's just that we're not using a bullhorn to communicate to the kids. And then I said this word earlier about something being sexy. Since he's talking about crypto, he's talking about trading and stuff. That's the sexy stuff. That's what everybody wants to do. Everybody wants to do these social media channels. They want to be like Mr. Beast, right? Get 400 million followers. Get paid for advertisement. That's what everybody wants to do. I call them pretty jobs. They don't want to do this dirty stuff. They got to get in ditches. They don't want to do this stuff. So what Mr. Hong is saying is, guys, raise your hands and do some of this dirty stuff. That's where the opportunities are going to be. They've been having here, and this is going to be a great transition to our next article. Says this kid, this person in this article, his name is Jacob Plummer. He's from South Carolina, 23-year-old kid. Say after graduating high school, he decided that college wasn't right for him. He joined an apprenticeship program, trained as an electrician. By 21 years old, he had launched his own business, okay? And last year, he grossed 90K. This year alone, he's already hit 6 figures. Listen to this now. Unlike many of his peers facing student debt and an uncertain job market of job prospects, I don't owe anything, is what he's saying to the author of this article. This is what I'm saying. Like, opportunities for you to have a decent trajectory in life is theirs in front of you if you choose wisely. And I'm not talking to you guys. I'm just saying to Gen Zers and whatever generation of followers you got. You got to make them decisions, man. And you got to make those decisions based in data. In fact,
for China's independence, he's saying that the U.S. doesn't have to worry about China's military using the AI chips to improve their capabilities because China already has a ample computing capacity and highly skilled engineers capable of building their own systems without NVIDIA's technology. So that's not a problem. He's just saying they're going to use it as much as they need to. In general, how like you use the AI chip. So yeah.
Yeah. Anybody else want to chime in here before we go to the next article?
This also reminded me of something in our weekly Tuesday Datagen meetings. Mr. Williams said that nearby Loudoun County was called Data Center Alley. And I researched into that a little bit, and over 49.5 million square feet of data centers are like currently being operated.
Yes, sir. Loudoun County is known as Data Center Alley, man. We have the most data centers in any other area or city, however you want to look at it, on the planet. Loudoun County, right where we are, guys, right up the road. I didn't know this. And they're still building, okay? So I'm saying to you guys, look, it's going to be hard for you guys, especially because your parents probably got degrees. The parents went a certain direction. I got it. I think sometimes as youth, there's an understanding that you have to be better than your parents. So it's like the bar you got to clear. So dad already has, mom has a couple degrees. Oh, I can't be a trades person. I got to get a degree. I understand that pressure. And I'm not even saying don't do it. Maybe if you have to get that degree just to show them you got it, that you're on par with them, I got it. That's pressure. Got it. Do it. But don't do it from the understanding of it's going to pave your way for a great future, financially speaking. Do it more so based on the need to satisfy your own personal goals and aspirations, and maybe those of your parents. But if you're doing something, to me, college-based, it has to be based in the data. I mean, guys, I went to a top 10 MBA program. University of Virginia's Darden School is top 10. All right, probably top 15 across the globe. You go to an elite business school like that, it's very easy for you to get opportunities in a variety of organizations. But there are a lot of subpar MBA programs out there. And what I'm saying is, there's not going to be a need for a lot of MBA students. This is what I'm saying. So if you're going to try to get an MBA or anything of elite, I'm talking about the next degree you get, the second degree, just make sure it's based in fact. Like, you do your research. Don't just do something just because somebody said they did. Like, do your research. Like, you should know what top schools are. You should know who these schools are. You should know, if I want to raise my hand to get a job in a certain industry, what the demand for that job is in the future. I don't understand why people don't do this stuff. I come from a very underprivileged background, but I had the wherewithal to know, okay, I don't want to be a music teacher when I came out of high school. I want to do something that the world needed. All right. So in the second degree I got, same thing. I did my research. So at a minimum, I think the opportunity exists for each of you guys to just do your research. Don't do something just because somebody else did it. Don't be compelled to pressure yourselves to do something because your parents did something. I just think, and we're going to talk about this in this next article, entrepreneurship is a right opportunity for everybody, right? I just think the advent of AI and how this Gen AI works, everybody should have a hustle. My kids have heard me say this since they were little. I think when you're born, your parents should get you a business. When you're born, the first gift for your birthday should be a tax ID number. This is my belief. And so I just think with AI coming to the horizon now, everybody should have a cause they're passionate about. Everybody should be passionate about a business idea, entrepreneurship. It's what this young man is showing you. And you leverage what it is that you want to be successful at in that regard. And I would hope too, as you guys as high school students, that you have some idea what you are great at already. But do you necessarily have to go to school and be told that you're good at X and good at Y? Do you need that? I think you should have done the inventory of yourself before you go to a school. You know what I'm saying? You have done that inventory yourself. Like, you guys know what inventory is, but you should know what your strengths and weaknesses are. You know what I'm saying? And then what degree or what profession do my strengths and weaknesses, do my future desires align to? And then how many of those roles are in need? Where the opportunity going to be? Just do the research. That's what I'm asking you to do. And then I think like generative AI, you got these conversational AI tools, Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, Copilot. It can even help you map that out. Here's who I am. My name is Nissi. All right. This is what I like to do. Here's what I'm good at. Here's where I think I want to go off in college. Here's how much money I want. But whatever it is, what should I do? Ask it. Just talk to it. Get some perspective on that. And then choose the best career based on that.
Yeah, so I was going to say, it is like a common misconception, and it is true, but to some extent. So basically, going to a good top-ranking college is one thing, and you think that going to that college, you're going to get like a really good job in that field, but actually it comes down to the exact skills that you know and all the skills that you write down on your resume and what skills that the job market needs at that time.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying, man. Look, I had kids that went to Ivy League out of high schools that made less than me, all because I chose engineering. That's what I'm saying here now. So, and I didn't go to Ivy League school. Went through a historically Black university. Probably, I don't know, 150th in the nation, maybe. I don't know. But I had kids that went to an Ivy League school and majored in something, I hate to say this now, I'm going to say quote unquote soft, okay? Where I did some hard science and they made 10, 15K less than me. That's my point. Like, you have to know what you're doing. You just can't pick a major, man. Like, you have to be scientific behind that major. Especially if you just want to be a causal person, where you just want to satisfy some life goal, I got it. Okay. Do what you got to do. But we're in the land of survival now. AI wants your job. AI wants to do everything. This is how I look at AI. Like AI, once it becomes even adept at knowing everything we know, because it's not smarter than us right now. It knows a lot of stuff though. It's gonna want to put us out of business. I just can't see any situation where AI is gonna let us maintain control. I just can't see it. So that's a whole different conversation. I look at human species sometimes like we are a bacteria on the planet. That's how I look at us. I look at how other animals exist on this planet. They just take what they need. They utilize what they need. They operate within some boundary. Not our species. I look at us like we're a bacteria. And so I just think if AI is smarter than us, it's gonna recognize it. Again, you guys as youth, you got to be scientific, man. AI wants to put us out of commission. It wants your job. It wants to do what you want to do. But they think it can do it better. So that in mind, just be specific about what it is you're trying to do, all right? And I'm cool about being passionate about causes and stuff, but you got to pay the bills. So you want to do some softer work, do it. But it's just good change might not be able to feed your family. So I just think that's where I'm saying, leverage these technologies. And you can get all kind of plans from this AI. So I just think that's the opportunity that's presented for us all. Let's go to this next article. This next article is on hustling.
So I was some points down, so I'll just talk about this. So the article was from Yahoo called I Asked ChatGPT to Predict the Next Big Side Hustle. And pretty much the writer is asking ChatGPT a question, what side hustle will become the most popular in the near future and profitable? And they just use ChatGPT to do that. So
what was the most profitable one?
They gave more like an idea of it. It was more like combining technology with creativity for like digital products and sustainability-based consulting. So the writer asked the AI to analyze social, technological, and economic trends or make a prediction. And it's highlighting the growth of artificial intelligence, not just for productivity, but as a guide for how people may earn their income. A big part of it talked about AI-powered freelancing, which I really like because I did that for a little bit. So the next generation of side hustles, they'll be built around innovation, adaptability, and purpose, not just for extra income, but using technology to create flexible, meaningful, and future work-ready opportunities.
Love it. Listen, man, this article right here is just, it feeds well into our vision for you guys, by the way. So I haven't told you guys this, but we're actually grooming you, okay, to become what we call AI aides. AI aides. We actually own that domain too, by the way. We went ahead and bought it like last year. So our thinking is we want to, this is why I tell you guys, when you guys come to those Tuesday calls, treat this experience like it's a job, but it's not a job. I'm just observing you. The fact you guys are on this podcast gives you extra points. So when I was in business school, how it worked is we didn't just, the reason I chose UVA was because I was a very soft-spoken young guy. I hadn't found my voice. I had engineering, I went to work, I could talk to my colleagues, I could talk to customers and all that, right? But you put me in front of a large audience, I got nervous, man. I stuttered a little bit when I was younger. So I would get nervous. So I said, okay, I wanted to get my MBA. I knew I wanted to get it. I didn't know why I wanted to get it, but I just knew I wanted to get it. I have a twin brother, and we both were able to get into University of Virginia's program. But the reason we chose that program is because it's case method, meaning that the students taught the classes. Professors would come in and give guidance, but the students basically did all of the work. We had to read cases, and then we had to come present those cases to class. So I wanted to put myself in a pressure-packed situation that made me do something I was uncomfortable doing. All right, so I chose UVA for that reason. I want to make myself learn how to talk, make myself visible. I want to not be invisible. We got points for talking in class. So my first semester, my first 2 semesters there, was hard as heck for me because I was so afraid to talk. I was so afraid to answer questions. And the professors wouldn't necessarily ride you early in the process, right? But at some point during the year or that semester, the professor would just call on you. They called it a cold call. And it would make you talk. And so I dreaded going to class some days because I knew I was going to get called for a cold call. I knew it. This would be like the middle of the semester because I was just so afraid to talk. Second year though, couldn't set me up. Now, what we learned at that school for me was they had a point system. You got half your grade was from talking in class. Other half was from taking exams. And so what I do with this Datagen program, I'm just watching kids who raise their hand, who talkative, who seem to be engaging in our content more. And you guys are getting points silently. You don't even know it. And what that's going to do for you is we got this AI AIDS offering that we're going to probably present to you guys early November. Okay. Here's the irony. When I was at this career thing up in Maryland, when we met this kid that did the trade stuff, we met this older lady and she asked us about our program. Our program wasn't even called Datagen Scholar then, I don't think. It's called the 12-month Data Analytics and Generative AI Training Program. And remember, she says, I'd like to learn that. It's an older lady. She says, if you guys had an aide for me, I would pay them $1,000 a month. I say, oh, really? And I left it at that. So this is in your article. The article says, the hustle article, it says, ChatGPT suggested that opportunities will be plentiful for those providing niche services to under-resourced communities, like tech support for the elderly. It says it right here in the article. Our AI aides are going to support elderly people. We're putting together the website as we speak, guys. And we're looking for maybe 10, 20 kids to put on it. And then this will be a paid opportunity for you, for select kids. So again, without going into too much details on this, I said this a few seconds earlier, I think everybody should be in consideration of entrepreneurship because I just think everybody should have a hustle. And as was mentioned, it doesn't need to be money-focused hustle. Don't need to be financial. I think you can use AI and be passionate about a cause. Does anyone want to say anything on this before we go to the last article?
Yeah, I think I should just elaborate more on the specific hustles that it gave, though. When it comes to these articles, I always try to put them in ChatGPT before we do the podcast, record ourselves, just so I can have a little more insight. But what ChatGPT basically gave me was that number one is going to be microservices and freelancing at niche scales. So that's going to be offering very narrowly focused services like micro consulting, micro design tasks that can be delivered quickly and digitally. All right, number two is going to be green gigs, roles tied to environmental trends like energy audits, carbon footprinting consulting, or local sustainability advising. Three is going to be agent and automation orchestration services, which is basically going to be managing and building AI agents for automations or workflows. Four is going to be content moderation, just creating short niche content for social media targeted audiences. And then five is going to be educational side hustles or micro teaching, which is kind of like what we do for the program when it comes to these knowledge casts, teaching small focused skills, how to use certain tools via short courses or micro classes. So those are just the five that it gave. Specifically, all of those incorporate AI into it. So that goes back to the whole education piece as well. To me personally, is you have two choices. You have trades or you have going to school. Going to school, you're going to have to take a path of AI education. No matter what you do, when you come out, your job's most likely going to employ you to learn AI. So those are the two routes you have. And then if you do go the side hustle route, you're still going to have to take that AI route eventually if it comes to being more productive.
Yeah, I thought like the entrepreneurship point was really good. I'm really interested in entrepreneurship, and I also take entrepreneurship course at my school. So yeah, that's like really something that I could.
Yeah, man, I love it, man. Anybody else?
I also like the entrepreneurship idea. I've seen that one of my really close friends, his name is Bera, same grade as me. He founded a SaaS platform this summer that helped businesses collect data, categorize, and act on guest feedback. It's basically for companies that are in hospitality. He was able to get 30 plus businesses onboarded, and he was able to get $1,000 in monthly recurring revenue within days of launch. So that was like
that's my point, man. That's my point. And he's in high school?
Yeah, he's in high school. He says junior.
This is my point. The opportunity is limitless. It's like, when I think about how much opportunity exists in the world, guys, you guys have all been to beaches. All right. So when you go to that beach and you look at that ocean, it's just vast. Okay. When I think about most people, when they look at how they take advantage of opportunities that are waiting, it's like going to a beach with a teaspoon. when I think about entrepreneurship, I think about anything that you're going to do in life that you're taking significant risk, right? Where you're setting the table for yourself, right? That's akin to going to that beach with a bucket, a tub, something bigger than a spoon. All right. So I just challenge you, when you get up in the morning, be conjuring up some ideas about something like, how can I use this stuff to make my life easier? Yeah, job stuff, got it. Cool. But how can you use it to make your life easier? And this stuff, the conversational stuff, it just tells you stuff. So you have to, of course, embed some stuff into it. Nothing too personal now, but here's who I am. That's that inventory I talked about earlier. Knowing who you are, what you like to do, what you want to do, what kind of business should I offer? Just see what it tells you. All right, so let's get to this last article, and then we can wrap this podcast up.
So the article's title was One Force is Propping Up the Economy. Fears are growing, it won't last. So basically in this article, it was talking about how many companies were investing in AI, and they were talking about how it may create a bubble. A bubble is if there's a new technology or something, it creates a lot of excitement, and so a lot of investors begin to buy the asset, and then it causes the prices to increase. As the prices increase, like more and more investors come in trying to get more profit, and then the price will rise so high, and some investors will see that and begin to sell it. But then when everyone realizes that they start to sell it, everyone will try to sell it, and it will lead to a rapid decline, which is also known as like the bubble bursting. What this article was talking about was how recent investments in AI may cause that bubble to burst. But it just goes between the 2 points of it's either going to burst or it's going to continue to grow.
Mm-hmm. Good article. Anybody else want to chime in on this one? Jayden?
Yeah, something was in there saying that if big tech reverted back to 2022 levels of AI spending, that the projected revenue growth would drop by 30%. So that just tells you that there's been a tremendous boom within the last 2-3 years. Like you said, that bubble has been rapidly expanding over these past couple of years. And despite outcomes not being produced, because we talk about this sometimes too, is that there's a lot of AI companies that are out there that have not produced any revenues. Like they haven't made any money yet, but people are throwing money at these companies based off of ideas. It's not something that has been put into place yet. They have no proof that what they're saying they can do, they can actually do. But people are just throwing money at them because of the idea that AI is going to be something that's going to be great. Super intelligence, we're trying to get there before other countries do. So I just think that it's a dangerous game. A lot of people are jumping in before they even know what is really going on, and that people who are not well educated in the field, there's a lot that can be lost, but there's also a lot that can be gained because, again, a lot of money exists in this AI network.
Yeah, just to echo what they said, just for everybody listening, to simplify it, basically a lot of people with money are investing a lot into these AI tools. And as we all know, investments don't always work out how you would expect them to work out. So essentially, when people do realize, they look at the financials of a lot of these organizations, a lot of these AI tool manufacturers, they realize, okay, I invested all this money, but where's my return? Where is my growth at? And once they don't see that, they're going to start selling stuff like Nissi said. And then, of course, that means the stock of the actual AI manufacturer, the pricing, that is going to drop, which means that, of course, it's just going to cause a lot of problems with people that invested money and people that do want to invest going forward. So I think that's what I would say to simplify it. I saw it coming. We all saw it coming if you've been paying attention to this. There's a lot of money going towards these AI tools. And as we all know, not all of these AI tools are necessarily needed by most of the public.
Yeah, man, look, there's this saying that we got a big quake coming. You think about California, they tell you, we about 100 years over for a quake. You guys just study earthquakes. When's the big one going to hit? So if you go to California, these guys are prepared for these quakes. The buildings are designed to sustain these quakes because they understand when it's coming. Financial markets are capricious, man, right? You're arbitrary. You can't predict them. I can't tell you it's going to be a bust. So here's the thing. This goes back to that greed that we all encounter as human beings. That's what you see in this. Now, unfortunately, like a lot of little guys, where I think the little guy loses is we're not the person that's picking our stocks and bonds for our mutual funds. Many of our retirement savings are aligned to probably some of these companies. We don't know it. That's where it's going to hurt the little guy, because a lot of this money we're talking about, that's rich people's money. But where it gets dangerous is if you have companies like BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street. These are the biggest money managers on the planet. If they're putting money in this stuff and you don't know it, and you are a little investor, that's when the little guy gets hurt. Because now all your retirement income might be in one of these companies. Because these guys roll the dice. That's how they get their return on their funds. You guys know about hedge funds. I know Sanjit talked about this cryptocurrency trading and stuff, right? So they roll dice. It's about that return. They want to get the best return for their shareholders. That's how this stuff works. There will be a bust. You guys did this Gen AI project, and we're going to do a white paper on this project. I think everybody on this call has done some work on this. But you guys found 1,000 companies out there. You found 1,000 Gen AI companies that's offering product. It's not possible for all these companies to survive. Because when you look at how they're valued and how they got their money from their investors, they all had projections. They all made forecasts about how many people they're going to get to sign up for that service. And that's what that valuation is based in. It's based on forecasts. It's based on demand. It's based on expectations of future growth, future revenues, right? So at some point, you got to turn a profit, okay? So what's going to happen for a lot of these companies, they ain't going to turn no profit. So somebody's going to lose. In those cases of many of these companies, it's going to be a big person. It won't be a little guy. When I say big person, I mean the person with the billions of dollars and millions of dollars. It won't be us. Where we get hurt is if it's a company like Meta or Facebook or somebody like that that gets hit badly by this, right? So my response to this, it's going to be a bubble. Some companies are going to lose. Going to be a lot of losers here. I just hope that for the sake of the little guy, the investor, the working class person who is just putting their money in a retirement fund and just looking to try to retire comfortably at 65, I just hope that their monies aren't pegged to these companies that are being overvalued. All right, that's my 2 cents on that. Arjun, you want to add something?
Yeah, so
Go ahead.
what I wanted to quickly say is, so for those who don't know, an investment bubble is a economic cycle marked by a rapid and unsustainable escalation of asset prices that significantly exceed the asset's intrinsic value. So the price increases as driven by market psychology. So it's like a herd behavior rather than underlying business fundamentals.
Yeah, absolutely. See what you just said? It's not based in fact.
Yeah.
Based in emotions.
Based off of what they see other people doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's it.
I wanted to add on, not all AI companies were successful while doing like the micro job and researching all the AI companies. One specific example was this AI called Logo Livery AI. And when researching, I found out on its website that it got liquidated and it wasn't successful. So to find the info, I had to go out and search more about it. But it's an example that not everything's successful.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So they probably got a ton of money from investors though. See, that's my point. So thanks for fearing that. It's based off the theory, man. And projections and forecasts, which are always wrong. So that's what that's about.
And for viewers who don't know, he said micro job. We actually have the students going out and finding different AI tools for us on our behalf, and they're just noting prices, the descriptions, what the tool does, and just things like that. So we will be doing a white paper on that eventually. But yeah, that's what he was referring to when he said micro job.
Thanks for adding that, man. Great commentary there.
Now, for a quick commercial break to share some key program insights.
Imagine a world where every student, parent, and professional has access to the tools shaping tomorrow's economy. That's what we're building at Sandai Cares, a movement to democratize data and AI education for all. Join us in empowering communities to create, innovate, and lead through technology. Discover how you can get involved at sandaicares.org.
Now back to the podcast. I'm just going to start off by going around and we'll have everyone say, what is your career aspirations or post-high school plans? We can start off with that first. So we can start off with Sanjit.
I would like to, again, go to college when I grow up, but after this podcast, I might have to think about trade school and my other choices. But I come from a South Indian background. My parents are both raised in India, and this is my first generation being in the United States, so they don't know much about what trade school this is, that they're just talking about getting good grades, but now time of day, like it's good grades is not going to get you into college or trade school. There's more to it. So I have to explain that to them. And I don't know for sure, but if it had to be anything, I'd go with entrepreneurship and computer science. That's the field I want to go into.
Absolutely, man. You so young. Like, I just think life is a series of directions. You guys get up in the morning, you made a decision to go a certain direction, get on this podcast a certain direction. I think you said this earlier about failure, right? You mentioned something about failure, man. So you're going to make some bad decisions here and there. You just don't want to make anything catastrophic. That's all I'm saying. And I just think a lot of kids that go into college and come out with certain degrees and can't get a job, that's catastrophic. Because now you got to unbury yourself from that debt. And you have people in their 50s and 60s still paying off student loans, all right? Some people go to their grave having old student loans, all right? So I just think that's unfair to expect a kid to graduate and then, on this idea of the American dream that they've been told or brainwashed into believing the only avenue of success is a degree, right? They get that degree along with $200K in debt, then they can't get a job. That ain't right. So, not saying don't go to school, just do your homework and do some observations and analysis around whatever decisions you want to go and make the best decision you can such that it's not catastrophic for yourself.
I would like to add on to that because you mentioned that your parents are first generation and they're the first ones to come over here to America. So I would say that as young people, it's also our duty to educate our parents too. I have a very forward-thinking father. I'm lucky to have that. But a lot of parents, they're stuck into the mentality of, this is what I did, this is what worked for me, so you should do the same thing. They only know what they know. So I think as a child, you're coming up, you're getting on these podcasts, you're hearing what we're saying. It's your responsibility to pass that on to your parents as well, so that way they can also guide you and give you a little more input based off of what you're seeing. And just combine those thoughts together because they have the experience, they have the life experience, but life changes, circumstances change. So yeah, but I think that you have the right mindset with the CS and the entrepreneurship. Definitely both great things to have. They combine that technical with the soft skills. So yeah, I wish you luck in that.
Before I came here, I told my dad I was doing a podcast with Datagen, and he was really proud of me. And he was like, "Oh, I want to listen to it." And now I'm gonna make sure he listens to it so he knows what we're talking about.
Love it, man.
Yeah,
listen, this is what I want for you guys, man. I want you guys to get these experiences. It's about helping you find your voice. Because I know how I was when I was 17, 18. So it's just helping you find your voice. And I think it's gonna, now that you're on this podcast and we're talking how we're talking, it's gonna amplify your voice to your parents. That's all it's gonna do for you. You get a little bit more bass in your voice now. You see what I'm saying?
Thank you.
Absolutely. Let's go to Nissi. You want to answer that same question?
So right now I'm doing dual enrollment. So when I graduate high school, I'll be able to get my AA in general education through my community college's dual enrollment program. And another good thing that we have in our county is that we can also dual enroll at technical college, like we've been talking about in the podcast. I'll also be getting a certificate in applied cybersecurity through my technical college's DE program. And then after that, I probably would get a bachelor's or even a master's in computer science and maybe a major in neuroscience or psychology.
Love it.
Some hard stuff.
But believe
neuroscience.
So what I hear right there is I hear a plan. I hear a pathway. See? So put that pathway, put some data beside it. That's what I want you to do next. Just put some data beside it so that you know, okay, this pathway right here is the most prominent pathway for me. And then you pursue it. We're record as abandoned. Arjun, you got it, buddy.
Okay, so I was planning on going to a 4-year bachelor's degree program for engineering, but I haven't decided what type of engineering. So I have to see in the next 3 years based on the job trends of what I'll actually do for my degree. So yeah.
Yes, sir. You got a handful of types, man. So do not do like industrial.
Yeah.
Do not do construction engineer. You want to do mechanical, electrical, computer, chemical, nuclear, something like that, aerospace.
Mm-hmm.
So do something that we call it hard science.
Yeah.
Even computer science is software engineering to me. So it's the same stuff. What I want you guys to do is just study the data. Data is about studying the data. I always tell people like data is all around us. right? Data is all around us. You got to use it to guide your decisions, to guide your everyday. So just study the data and then pick a course for yourself. You ain't got to pick it today, but what I heard Nissi saying there is she's going to have a AA when she leaves high school. So maybe you, Arjun, maybe you can have something that's pointing you in that engineering direction before you leave high school. I don't know what it would be.
Yeah. So last year I got an AutoCAD certified user for FIFA 360. That's a certification. I had to do like a test for it. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. So I was doing AutoCAD for the first time in college. So you're doing it in high school. Not great.
Yeah.
So it shows how times have progressed. All right. Great plan, man. So I love the fact that you're going engineering. Who's up next?
Let's go, Uzair.
So my plans are to go to a 4-year degree college. My high school, TJ, is like really competitive. It's #1 in Virginia. A lot of people are like, oh, I want to go to Ivy League. I want to do this. But I feel like my mindset was different from the beginning. I kind of knew that degrees are not the only thing you need anymore. I know it's a good thing to have. So I thought I would have a degree, but I thought I would stay in state. Get the degree, but reduce the amount of damage it does to me. A good option I thought was really good where currently Jayden goes. George Mason is a 15-minute.
Absolutely, man. Great school. Great school. I almost tell kids too, by the way, you ain't got to get that crazy degree, the first degree. It's almost like putting your feet in cold water almost. Like you don't just some people do it crazy like this. Now they just throw their whole body in cold water. But I try to put my toes in first, put my leg in first, make sure that's what I want to do. So before you go over that crazy degree and you have to pay all that money for that degree, maybe you want to go somewhere that's a little easier, a little less ambitious in terms of the environment, the culture of the school. Not as competitive, right? Put your leg in the water a little bit. Figure out that's what you really want to do. And then get that crazy next degree. When I say crazy, I mean, that's when you swing for the fences with it. Because you can always do that. You can always go to, the bachelor's degree at Ivy League you want to. Like, that's always an option for you. I just think if you have an idea what your finish line is, and I'm saying finish line for you would be maybe by the time I'm 30, I want to have X, right? If you know what that is, work backwards from there. And then just trot out the best course for yourself and be as visual about it as you can. Like be thinking about, if I go to this school, if I go to that school. You said, I want to stay in state so I can reduce the damages to myself. I like how you said that. See, you want to stay in state, then minimize your financial burden. That's brilliant to me, right? So some kids want to leave the state so they can get from around their parents, right? And then they're taking on all this extra debt. That doesn't make any sense to me. So I applaud you for thinking that way. And like I said, figure out what that course is for yourself and just take it. If it's Ivy League next, that's what it is. But George Mason's a great school. Great school, man. So I commend you for considering that. And as he said, Thomas Jefferson is the top rated school in Virginia with a decent GPA and a decent standardized test score. I know you can get into a variety of schools around this nation.
Yeah, I think it's like #4 in the nation too, right?
It's up there, man.
Yeah.
All right, you got anything else you want to say?
For the career aspect, I was considering cybersecurity. I was looking at data, for example, from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. Like example career path was an information security analyst. The employment is projected to go to 29% from 2024 to 2034.
That's like the second most needed job, right?
Yep.
Second most needed job is that. That's what I'm saying. So that's what I want you guys to do. Like, look at the data, okay? I mean, it's right there. It doesn't say basketball player on it, does it? I'm just saying, like, that job ain't needed, bro. So if it says we need 100,000 of those people, okay, I probably want to look at that. You know what I'm saying? So congratulations for even bringing that up, man. I'm proud of you for going to that website. Did you just do that?
I did that before, but I feel like I also needed to pull up a statistic to prove my point, back it up with evidence too.
Look, you just said something that's magical. Always speak with data. You want people to respect you? Speak with data. All right? Great points. Arjun, you want to say a few words?
Yeah, so what I forgot to mention, my plan from the beginning was to go in-state, like Virginia Tech or George Mason. So
absolutely, man. Stay in state. You guys are in one of the best markets, by the way, being proximate to the federal government. And the biggest customer on the planet is the U.S. government. The biggest customer on the planet, it's the U.S. government. You guys are right here near the government. Don't leave it. Like, go to schools here. These schools are all respected, by the way. That's why so many companies come here, because we have so many elite academic institutions here, right? We have a very smart citizenship here. in this area, the DMV. So stay here. Go to school here.
Yeah, I feel like that location aspect is such a big thing. We're near DC, Loudoun County. Like I said, with the data centers being built, there's going to be a lot of physical jobs too. For all the data flowing through, like the cybersecurity aspect, your data needs to be protected. I feel like a lot of those jobs will come through with it. And this area in general, a lot of companies are headquartered here, like Herndon, Tyson's Corner, DC. So
yeah, you got like 20, 25 Fortune 500 companies here, man. Tons of companies. I mean, you got a lot of companies here. That's what I'm saying. This is the biggest customer on the planet right here in our backyard. All right, so let's go up for Pranav, and then we're going to wrap this thing up.
Yeah, so the major I want to go to is just the medical field, and UVA has been my goal since like 6th grade. I go to 2 schools, actually, right now. I go to a school on one day and a school the other day. The school I go to, the base school, and the other school I go to is called Academies of Loudoun.
Tell me about Academies of I hear a lot about that. What is that?
So in that school, there's 3 programs. There's Academies of Science, Academies of Engineering, and there's a program that has like a combination of 40 to 50 different other programs in it.
Yep.
So I go to the 3rd one, and I chose the pathway of medical in it. So right now, I spend 6 hours every other day learning medical stuff, and it's kind of like a specialized school just for medical related items. Remember we were talking about the most needy job right now is home health care?
Yep.
Yeah, we literally just learned about that, and I can completely agree with you. There's a lot of people who need it because life expectancy is increased. I'm also taking this course because I want to learn AIs like hand in hand with medical, because who knows, in the future, it's completely useful with the medical field.
Let me say something to you, bro. So this is what we got to do, though. We got to figure out a way to do home health care and simplify it some kind of way where people can get that component, because aging population and people are going to need people to care for them. It's going to be a big opportunity for somebody who's playing in that arena. So we're going to try to figure this stuff out, man. I told my team already it's like 2 different businesses that I want to start considering. One is data center construction something. And the other is going to be home health care, man. Like these things are going to be huge opportunities. I don't know what the offering would be, but I'm just saying that's where I think you can leverage your passion too. You still can go medical and be a doctor and all that, but I just think there's an opportunity for you to do that entrepreneurship piece too. That's all I'm saying. I just think we all have to consider that. And if you're passionate about caring for people, and this is physical care, then you understand that need.
I also find, because I like helping people, so like medical, I feel like is the best way, and it also has a good pay. So I want to go to the radiology side, and that's like the only school in Loudoun to have the radiology machine. So right now I'm taking the intro course for that, and then in the next 2 years, I should be able to take the radiology tech course.
Love it. I love it, man. We got some great kids. Thank you guys so much for jumping on this podcast with us. I want to give any of you students the opportunity to say a few words before we jumped off.
Thank you for bringing us to the podcast. It was a great experience.
Definitely.
Anybody else?
I also want to say thank you. I feel like I learned a lot of things about guys and about AI. It's just a great experience. Totally.
I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate you guys giving us this opportunity.
Thank you, Nissi. And you're from what part of Florida again, Nissi?
I live in the Kissimmee area.
Yeah, Kissimmee, Florida area. So home state, I'm from Tallahassee. You know that, right, Nissi?
Yeah, I think
Okay. Thanks for holding the state down. Anybody else?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you, like everyone else did. I appreciate the opportunity to get in the podcast.
And last but not least,
Yeah, I also appreciate the opportunity to talk on the podcast. I learned a lot of things from different points of view, like all the way from medical to like cybersecurity. There's a lot of stuff that I learned.
Now, for a quick commercial break to share some key program insights.
You've got grades, you've got ambition, but now you need experience that counts. The Datagen Scholar Next Step Scholars Program delivers real-world data and AI assignments, tiered tracks, and visible proof of your skills. This is how you move from learning to earning. Explore your path now at datagenscholar.com/next-step-scholar-program.
Now back to the podcast.
excellent. Thank you guys for hopping on. All right, Jayden, you guys want to wrap up?
Yeah, I wanted to touch on a different point of view before we did hop off. This is more so for the audience. So I know a lot of you guys listening now, we've touched base on Gen Z as far as those that are getting ready to go to college or decide what they want to do after high school. But I want to go back to the older side of the generation because that's where I fall in. So for anybody that doesn't know, Gen Z is 1996 to 2013 or 2011. And I was born in 1999, so I'm definitely a part of the older generation. But one thing I will say with everything going on, I've gone through college. So I went to George Mason University myself. I majored in finance and I minored in data analytics. I had to choose between two options. The first was to go work for a government agency or a private corporation, whatever I wanted to do. Or the second was to stay with the business, right? I chose the business. A lot of my peers that did decide to go off other places with everything going on in the world right now, a lot of them are now seeing things get thrown back into their face and whatnot. So if you are a part of that group, again, of peers that came out around the same time I did as far as college, and you're now seeing that your skills maybe aren't as applicable to the current work environment, try to take what we're saying on this podcast, even the students we have on here right now, even though they're a lot younger than us, right? I would still say to use some of the same things they're doing. Use the data, look at the data, decide what you want to do. It's never too late to change your career. I would look at trades. Even if you have debt, you just gotta lick your wounds and just keep going. That's all we can do with life. You can always go back and change your career, and I would highly recommend you guys do that, even if you are in a place that you're comfortable with right now.
All right, Jayden.
Yeah. Entrepreneurship is the ultimate goal. Yeah, I just want to say thank you, everybody, for coming on today. It was a great call. I learned a lot personally, and I look forward to the next discussion.
Yeah, so here's my advice to you youngsters. I started figuring stuff out late in life. I think what I do to inspire myself every day, I try to have mantras that I attach to guide me. But everybody gonna have good days, you're gonna have some bad days. You're probably gonna have more bad days than good days. Just what it is, all right? So there's one mantra that I echo a lot to anybody who knows me. You'll hear me say this thing, Wiggy, a lot. Wiggy just means want it, go get it. And it's a way for me to remind myself that it's up to me to make my dreams come true, right? And I'm saying to each of you guys here today, thank you for jumping on this podcast. You all have your own ambition. But if you want anything in life, it's gonna be up to you to make it happen. So I know we talked a lot about AI, it's gonna cripple this, gonna cripple the job market for people. Still doesn't mean that you can't pursue your dreams. And Wiggy, for me, I actually got it from a movie. It's a movie called The Pursuit of Happiness. And you got Will Smith. Will Smith is a pretty prominent African-American actor. And he was playing this role as this guy. He was an investment guy. But it's a real life story of a guy who basically came from the streets and made it into a highly esteemed brokerage house and became a successful, I want to say investment manager or a trader. But anyways, Will Smith is in this movie with his son, Jayden Smith. And there's a particular scene with them on a basketball court. And Jayden is shooting the basketball, and I think Will asks him what he wants to do when he grows up. He says he wants to be a basketball player. So Will proceeds to tell him, I don't think you're gonna be that great because I wasn't that great, and blah, blah, blah. Jayden gets mad and throws the ball at the gate. Like Jayden in this movie is probably about 8 and 9 years old, little guy. Will looks at his son, he knows he said something he shouldn't have said to him. So he tells him, maybe not in these exact words, he just says that if you have a dream, you gotta protect it. And you can't let anybody discourage you from pursuing your dreams. He says, if you want it, go get it, period. And that just stuck with me. So I'm just saying to you guys here today, everybody has a different definition of what success looks like. All right, so I think you should have an idea of success that's short-term, meaning day-to-day. You should have an idea of success that's mid-term, that might look like getting to college. You should have an idea of success that looks like long-term. That should be some tremendous future ambition. And embedded in all of these aspirations of success is risk. It's sacrifice. And in order for you to achieve ultimate levels of success in anything you do in life, it's going to be some extreme sacrifice. So what I want to say to you guys is, I think you all are on the right trajectory. I think raising your hand to be in this Datagen Scholar program is a reward for us as their facilitators, as much as it is a reward for you as a participator. We have some tremendous ambitions for you. You guys have some things in front of you that you haven't even been introduced to yet, that we're going to introduce you to. So all I want you to do is just remain steadfast on your dreams. Whatever your dreams are, I want you to stay steadfast on those. Just because you read some articles doesn't necessarily mean that you can't pursue that dream because AI might be a threat. I think you still pursue your dreams. Just find a way to base all your aspirations each day in data. Base it in data. Because as we always say, data is all around us. You can use it. But also find a way to embed AI into what your ambitions are for tomorrow.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Data, Dollars, and Dynasty. The views and opinions expressed in this episode are those of the individual speakers and do not reflect the views and opinions of Sandai Global or Sandai Cares. Visit us on our website at datadollarsdynasty.com to learn more about our companies and our priorities. Also, follow us on social media at Data Dollars Dynasty. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Thanks again for tuning in. We look forward to catching you on the next episode.